When I was 10, I got to see the Sex Pistols at Ivanhoe's in Huddersfield. From then, I was gobsmacked and wanted to be a writer. When I was 14, I was put into care. I was bullied because I liked poetry. In 1988, I was living in London in squats, hanging around with poets and musicians. But I never ever thought I'd have an education because I was working class with no school qualifications. So I went from self-harming to writing about how I felt. Throughout the years, I worked for different magazines. I worked for Scootering. I ran my own magazine called London's Dead. I then went to a couple of universities, fell out after a year. Whilst I lived in Soho, I was homeless for a while, and I ended up meeting a madam. I discovered that there was more to women's rights than I'd been shown. When I arrived in Germany, I ended up living in Kaiserstraße, which is the red light district. And again, I discovered that these women, even though it's legal, were very much under pressure. I mean, they're selling themselves for 20 euros, which is diabolical. So I tried to support them. I worked for organizations, getting them free HIV, hepatitis tests. So doing something via writing, doing something helping them, it developed me as a person. I came to live in Sunderland, and one day I went to an opening, and actually seeing you can do a career out of this was amazing to me, because I never actually thought that what I was doing would actually help somebody else. So I took a place at Sunderland, and this is my third year. I lived in Soho for a long time, and I knew everybody there and everybody knew me. And I had a friend called David Morley, who was a fantastic barman at the Admiral Duncan. He was the nicest person you could ever meet. You'd always see him at Pride. He'd be up there, all, you know, flags and everything, holding his boyfriend's hand. He was one of those blokes that he stood out in defence. I was once being picked on because I was wearing mascara and my hair was blonde at the time. And he just came out the bar and shouted at these two guys to leave me alone. In the 90s, going to the 2000s, the Admiral Duncan was bombed by a right-wing person. David Morley went in and out of that bar, helping people out. Years later, whilst leaving a nightclub, some teenagers were bullying a friend of his, so he stepped in. David was kicked to death. What makes you hate me? Who you looking at? Boot in the head. Who you looking at? Wishing I was dead. Who you looking at? Jaw begins to break. Who you looking at? My lover's blood over my face. Are we not part of the same human race? Who are you looking at? I think we're losing him. What do you think I am? Why do you hate me so much? Is our love sick? Our passion so perverse? What kind of society made you? Can you feel my heart's last beat? A life taken because of hate, because you and your friends hunt in packs. 2:23:45. Time called. We tried our best. What makes you hate me so much? What makes you hate me so much with pride? One evil voice in your head? Are you proud that you kicked me to death? That was for David Morley, who I dearly miss. It brought the whole of Soho to a standstill, but it made me realise how short life is and how you don't really know anybody until they're gone.